Hello everyone. If you're watching this it is currently November the 14th, so that's time for my last reaction thoughts video on Pokemon Journeys, Journeys Japanese episode before I start back up into some movie logs on Sword and Shield Part 4, the Ultimate Sword and Shield, which is the finale of the multi-part Sword and Shield arc for this series, so let's get this started. Picking up where we left off, me and Ash has engaged Rose, whereas Go, on top of having retrieved the rusted Sword and Shield from the Summoning Wield, has also engaged Oleana, though both of them are having some difficulty in the matter. There's also the task of trying to contain Eternamax from going too far, her doing damage in the Galar region, and definitely enjoying how they approach this. And though it's not exactly the same as how the games played it out with, the way they approach it is highly effective. Since while a lot of purists initially scoffed at this matter, this has been a recurring situation throughout all the franchise history. In fact, even have often had mixed feelings towards how they handle them. I think that the way they approach this is quite useful. The way they built up to it, the way that they've adapted it, and also even with Team Rocket's involvement, they're apparently being infiltrated. It wasn't exactly how I expected, but again, it also broke another Lone convention in a big way. That I did indeed confirm that detail I was suggesting, that given how Meow was able to use G-Max Gold Rush, as shown by the sigil on his coin in its Gigantamax form. So that was how it learned how to use Payday, by getting a blast of Dynamax energy infused inside of him. Before Returnamax started absorbing all the energy, meaning that they can't D-Max, and they're sandblasting off, which again is fairly accurate to how the game's played out. How not the exact same circumstances, but similar enough that it'll work. Exactly. I don't know about comparing Dastly and Muttley again. The way they've been depicted as anything from just goofy, a comical relief, to highly intimidating threats, and that's in some points. I think the Joker is a more accurate comparison, given how many versions of that have been. They've been silly to gritty to even a Lego minifigure of all things. So yeah. Moreover, I also really like how this episode does a good job of illustrating how different their styles and approaches to their journeys are. Because Ash definitely has a lot more experience battling and is able to, even before the thumbnail I've chosen and shows, able to outmaneuver the bigger, heavier monsters of Rose's, his Feral Thorn, and his. Okay, I know which one it is. Just give me a moment here. His. Hold on, I know what it is. Let's do not help me right here. Here. It's Copperage. That's the one. Memory just got jawed there. Here, that was Go to focus more on capturing, but is able to still come up with tries a different way. Especially given how they made one minor change here, that because as her Garbodor is being loaned to one of her henchmen, I suppose. That's why she's using Milotic instead, which to be fair was also in her roster. I think they did something similar with Lucamine's roster and Sun and Moon, mainly because that Beware were being used by someone else as basically Team Rocket's guardians as nursemaid, and I will also note that the way that Ash picks Ryulu jump out of the way and causes the two monsters Rosies to crash into each other kind of reminds me of like how in some of those Team of Two Kings we do the same thing people on Rocksteady. They two we could just jump out of the way by the time they crash into each other. And it was different in some of the console ports, but I get ahead of myself. Now comes the big part of this episode, and one I have been looking forward to ever since I first saw this part of the story teasing the opening scenes. Managing to use its speed to outmaneuver and outdraw Oleana's Milotic, goes Raboot, manages to evolve into Cinderace, and as such, not only does it defeat Oleana, but the smile and optimism have returned, and even more so, as Riolu, who managed to evolve into Lucario, who's my favorite Pokemon for a very long time, and manages to one-shot Rose's Pokemon, forcing the two of them to evacuate just as a turn to Master Awakening in its true power. I've been looking forward to that as one of the bigger parts of this arc, and naturally, this also means that I can now legitimately use this as given how the thumbnail between the two protagonists, that's basically like half my fantasy roster in several games, and the latest one's right there. Yeah. So, as the legend foretells, they do indeed become the new heroes of Galar, the sword and the shield. So, while raising the weapons, Azalea and Zamazenta assume the true forms, which allows them to not only defeat Eternamax, but in the series first, the two of them jointly capture Eternatus and end up defeating Rose and Oleana's plans. Though their helicopter apparently is out of commission somewhere outside the city. Something tells me that the authority is going to have plenty of questions for them about their experiments. Keep in mind, I'm still working on clearing the story portion of Another Crown Tundra, but I finally worked out what version I want to do and plant the seeds in each. And to close, like the artifacts are returned to something wield. Sonia is promoted to professor to be working alongside her grandmother eventually succeed Magnolia, and as such, peace has been restored to the region once again. So, this episode is definitely not only the ideal finale to the story arc, but easily anything someone would want out of a Pokemon on anime or adaptation. It is definitely was worth building up to basically throughout the entire year or so, and has definitely carved a new way look in the series. I'll probably look at like the Mewtwo episode another time, but I think it'll definitely be after like tomorrow's vlog, and I start the Sun and Moon vlogs back up again, and for season 2 onward. So that will definitely be all for now. Definitely have much more to talk about tomorrow, and I will see you all then. Later.